Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So first, we're going to be doing today. We are going to be doing the Southern Hills Iceberg. This is a pretty snazzy iceberg made for us. Looks pretty good. There's some nice ones down below. I'm going to get to those in a bit. And obviously, as all iceberg videos starts, we're going to start at the top. And tier number 1, the surface. We're gonna just start here, everybody. The first one I can see on the surface, quite obviously, Mr. Pilger's Batman. Now, this one's quite obvious. I mean, you don't even have to go to Southern Hills to know that Mr. Pilger loves Batman. He has Batman figurines all over his room. I mean, like, there's, like, at least 100, I swear. Like, somebody did an official count, I think. Somebody better give me that number in the comments, but Mr. Pilger loves Batman, and probably is definitely his favorite superhero, and there's Mr. Pilger himself has a mug entitled on it is Miss Batman and I have never been seen in the same room. So that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that Mr. Pilger, some people speculate, I know this one's kind of more of a joke, some people speculate he is Batman, which I believe. I believe it. Mr. Pilger is pretty built too, but like, if you don't know, Mr. Pilger is the social studies teacher for 6th grade. Second one on the list, also a really obvious one. Obviously, this is still the surface. This one's renovations. A couple years back, 1 or 2, couple years. Well, there's been multiple renovations, but there's been very expensive renovations in the millions in Southern Hills, and they've taken out asbestos. They've added the science wing. They've done a lot of stuff, made the school real nice. Did some stuff to the library too. Not sure on the specifics, but this was a couple years back, as I said. Just a renovation, as most things get renovated. Tony Page, this next one, Tony Page. Tony, yeah, my boy Tony. Last name starts with Z. So you know he's going to be at the back of the yearbook, sadly. But this comes with his perk. Maybe, I think it was before COVID, he had his own entire page of the yearbook to himself. I mean, what a baller. He has his own yearbook page. That's a Tony Page all for you. Next one is Southern Hills Middle School Gossip. This was an Instagram account. I think some person believed it was Sloan. I'm not sure who ran it, but speculated some people who ran it, but this just basically said gossip about the school, like who was dating, what was the latest updates. I wasn't really that into gossip, so I mean, I couldn't really tell you what this one was more specifically about, but that's all you really need to know. We're firing through these guys fast just because they're pretty easy to explain. Next is Aunt Melba. So Mr. Sanders, Mr. Crandall, they have classroom, quite obviously, they're teachers. And in the classroom, quite creepy, I know, they have a mannequin looking over. What the fuck? Bruh, some ghost in my room. But Aunt Melba, it's a mannequin in Mr. Sanders and Mr. Crandall's room, watching over all the students with a smile. It's kind of creepy, but you can read what's on. She has a little note card on it. You can read it. Has a nice RV shirt, some glasses. Pretty swanky. I mean, there's not a lot of theorizing. It's just pretty nice. Next is underground pool. This is the first conspiracy theory of the iceberg. But ask any teacher at Southern Hills, and they will tell you, yes, there is an underground pool underneath the gym. Some will refute it. Some students might refute it, but literally 99% of the teachers will tell you about the pool. You can get information on it. It's pretty cool. I think there's more about it down here. We'll get to that. I've read this thing over, just seeing what I know, and researching the rest. But yeah, this thing, we'll talk more about the pool. That's just to say, that's all I'm saying. All right, Fox Tractor. This one's more of a bit of a weird one. So it was a period of a week about where we saw a ton of foxes. So the first there was this mangy fox crawling around all in the bushes. I mean, you could see him almost everywhere. For like a couple days, the reason we call it a mangy fox is this fox most likely had mange. Yep. One of those boys, and it was a pretty sad looking fox. They called animal control. Probably took care of it, or the fox moved on. We never really saw that fox again. Maybe it died, who knows, but it was a couple days after, I swear. Same week, probably. We were going out for lunch, but we saw Mr. White and Miss Barczyk. They were not letting us go all the way out into the courtyard for lunch, because just across the courtyard, what was there? There is another fox eating somebody's lunch. This fox was pretty not creamy, sorry, my bad, pretty clean. did not have mange. This was a different fox entirely, and it was eating somebody's lunch. Somebody left food out. Who would do that? I mean, definitely not why we have restricted lunch now, but in the same week we saw 2 foxes. I mean, I'm not going to make a conspiracy theory about it. Maybe you can. But that's just kind of a weird, probably a coincidence. Could it be that there's a fox tractor at Southern Hills, or is it just a coincidence? Probably a coincidence. You decide. It is your choice. Okay, now that we're done with Tier 1, the surface, which has a picture of Southern Hills Middle School. This is just a picture of the logo. This is nothing special about this picture because this is a surface. We're going on to Tier 2. This is the tip of the iceberg, as you can see. This one has slightly more interesting ones. Obviously, Mr. Pilger is featured heavily here on the surface, but here we have Mr. Pilger fan page, first one. Oh, and this picture, let me explain it real quick. This is a picture of, it's not even on this, where is it? Damn, bomb threat right here. Yeah, sorry, this is a bomb threat at Southern Hills. You can see the bomb robot, whatever you call that thing, that little thing. We'll get to that in a bit. I'm not sure why these aren't synced with the tiers, but that's just a thing that happened. We'll get to that. But Mr. Pilger fan page. Mr. Pilger being a very memeable teacher. Literally almost everybody who went to Southern Hills knows about him because he's a 6th grade social studies teacher, as you know. Somebody went on TikTok, made a Mr. Pilger fan page. We could show that thing. I don't really have the link right now, but we can show that Mr. Pilger fan page with edits of photos of Mr. Pilger with TikTok music playing in the background, and it's a fan page. I'm in love with my teacher, stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty creepy. If I'm going to be honest, if I was a teacher, you're not making this on me. You're probably going to go straight to hell, I'm going to be honest with you. But, like, don't sip for your teachers. Though he is kind of, as I said, kind of built. He's kind of a strong dude. Some people said he looked like Ryan Reynolds. That's cap, bro. Don't kid yourself. This next one on the list, old Southern Hills Middle School sign. This one's pretty easy to explain. So, on the wall, there used to be Southern Hills Junior High. Yes, it was Southern Hills Junior High. That's what it used to be called. Obviously, things did not be called junior high anymore. They started to become middle schools. So they changed the title. They moved the sign. They changed it to Southern Hills Middle School instead of Southern Hills Junior High. But you can still see the remnants where the sign was. You can still see the junior high. So this is just a sign you can see on the outside of the school. Now, the next one's kind of a funny one. This one's more memeable. The Thanos Southern Hills Middle School. If you Googled Southern Hills Middle School, you wouldn't really see much, but there was a screenshot that was shared around quite a bit a while ago of Southern Hills Middle School, and there is a photo of Patrick Star Thanos in the corner of the Google search. Quite a funny image. I wish I had it with me right now. I don't. The next one is Captain Daly. Captain Daly, as you know, if you ever talked with Mr. Daly a lot, he was a boat captain. He commanded ships. That man was literally a sailor. But as you know, people do. They move on. They settle down with people. They get kids. He couldn't be out at sea for like the weeks he was, so he became a teacher, and he teaches math at Southern Hills. One of my top teachers, I'd say. I should make a tier list. We should do a teacher tier list at Southern Hills. Next one is, oh wait, that might be an ad. We're gonna do that video. Now that I said that. Okay, Conjito Poker. This one's just quite obvious. Mr. Conjito, me and the boys. I think it was like Buddy, some kids. Buddy, me, Quinn, my boy Joey. Yeah, we were playing poker. We had poker days during lunch. We were trying to get teachers to join in. Mr. White, obviously it's a bad idea for you to join in. There's nothing you can really gain. You can probably just get like told off by your superiors if you join this game of poker. But Mr. Conjito, we convinced him. He played like 2 hands with us, and I mean, I forgot if he won or lost. He probably won. I mean, that man's a legend at poker. If you know the Conjito lore, you know. Now, Crandall Goat. I know some of you guys are going to be disappointed. Mr. Crandall. This is not because Mr. Crandall is the greatest of all time. No, he was pictured with a goat Fairview kind of, guys know Southern Hills is very close to Fairview. Fairview had a goat problem, so there was goats in Fairview at times because by Veely Lake, very lush area, lots of geese hanging out there. We'll get to the geese later, but there's lots of geese hanging out, and they needed to trim grass. There's lots of grass problems I forgot what they were doing down there, but they needed some grass, so they got goats as natural grass trimmers, as you do. But these goats would get out of their pens, and they would go towards the school. So Mr. Crandall was handling his goat problem, as you do. He had a goat in hand. He was pictured. Now, he was there. We should pull up that picture, I guess. But he was pictured, and it's all over the school, I think. There's one in Mr. Daly's classroom, I know that for sure. And it's like Mr. Crandall was a goat. I forgot what exact text on it. But there's lots of pictures of Mr. Crandall with goats. I think he's a goat type of guy. He's kind of old school, But that is Tier 2, the tip of the iceberg for you. Alright, now that we are done with Tier 2, we're going down to Tier 3. So Tier 3, just below the surface, as you can see the water right there. We're just below this. We're starting to get kind of close to the bottom where it gets interesting, but we're going to start out here. Number 1, and this is there's a sign of the stone. Sign of the stone outside the building. There's nothing special about this because it's so close to the surface. Okay, here we go. Number 1, can I ride the water slides? So, let me tell you, Google reviews are hilarious. Look at Google reviews for any restaurant, any place. They're going to be funny. You know what's funnier than Google reviews? Google reviews that are for schools. So look at the Summit ones. There's going to be some ones about bad homework, how much homework there is. Look at the Southern Hills ones. All you're going to see is students asking. Well, not asking. They're talking about how bad the water slides are at Southern Hills. How mangy the bathrooms are at the water theme park. Now, this really confused me when I came upon this. I'm like, did Google end up misdirecting the reviews towards Southern Hills? And then I realized, no, these are students. They made this joke a few years back about riding the water slides. And if you ask teachers about, can I ride the water slides, they're going to have a quick little laugh to themselves. It's a pretty good entry right there. That's a funny one. And look at the Google reviews for your school, see what you see. Teacher social media. Obviously, lots of people have social media. Otherwise, it wouldn't be very social. So, a lot of teachers, they do have social media. Believe it, look up their names on social media. You'll find them. There's a lot. So, Mr. Crandall, he has a Twitter, believe it or not. I'm not going to tell you the Twitter. You can find it yourself if you really want. But Mr. Sanders famously had an Instagram. You could follow it. But it went on private because, as Mr. Crandall said, it became a thing. People were starting to follow him, talk about it to him. So we just restricted it. Nobody could follow him unless he, approve you back, as you probably know how Instagram works better than I do. I'm going to be honest with you, but... So only a few people in the school have Mr. Sanders' social media, or really know about it. Well, they know about it, but they're not following it, and they can't see what he's posting. That's kind of a rarity. I'm not followed. I don't want to be that creep following my teacher. I'm sorry to you guys. Next one is the trio. This is different from down here where you're going to see the trifecta. That is quite different. This is the trio. I know they're similar, but the trio is the 3 bald men at our school. There might be more, or baldine men. But so we have Mr. McWilliams, Christopher McWilliams. He is bald. That's all you need to know. Mr. Daly, guess what? He is bald. And then Mr. Gudito, he is bald. This is the trio. They're all the bald men. They are very powerful. We'll talk about their powerfulness in a bit. Their power level. I don't want to get all anime about it, but we can talk about their power level. The next one, Southern Hills Middle School, is 60 years old. This is obvious. I mean, you can see at the front of the school how old it is. I mean, you don't really need to do that much digging. This is just that it's an old school. I know there's older schools, but still some cool history. Alright, this is where we get the connection. The next one is Bomb Threat. Back in 2014, so a long while ago, compared to a Southern Hills, not Southern Hills, a middle schooler's lifetime at that moment in their life. 2014 is a long time ago. So no really students know this happened, but it was during the summer, so there wasn't really a lot of people in the building. But there was a bomb threat. There was an O2 canister hidden in the concrete. So they called the bomb squad. You can see here, there's a whole video we can watch about it. But there's the concrete that it was in. This bomb thing pulled it out. This bomb thing failed to get it out. Actually, they had to send this guy in to take it out and safely get the pressurized O2 canister. Maybe it was CO2. I'm not sure in the exact details. It's pretty fuzzy. There wasn't a lot of reporting about it, even though the immediate area was evacuated. And obviously, that guy's strapped. It's a pretty serious situation. The next one is petting zoos. This is very connected to the water slides. Petting zoos. People also talked about the petting zoos in Southern Hills. I know it's weird, but it's the same story for the water slides, just about petting zoos. That's all you really need to know. Closet of death. This is quite as literal as it gets. There was a closet of death in Southern Hills. Believe it or not. So, Miss McCleskey, current woodshop teacher, named the closet at the back of her classroom the Closet of Death. Because this was a musty closet. This was a very bad smelling closet. This was a very sectioned away. She only used it for storage. There's nothing useful in there. It's cleaned up now, but it used to be probably like a paint room. There's a weird light fixture with paint on it, covered in silver paint, something about it. Basically, we cleaned it out. There's some plaster with the old Southern Hills shop teacher carved into the plaster with a date on it. So that's very cool lore that you know the old shop teacher, and you can see his name, kind of like Terry Gillich, on the gym wall. But there's also something dead in the closet. Now, this was after Scott's name when we cleaned it out, but we cleaned it out with chisels. Under the floor mat, there was rotting wood. Very disgusting. Something rotting, something dead. This was not a good place. I was one of the few to clean it out. I think I got cancer after that. I'm gonna be real honest with you. That's why they call it the Closet of Death now, and it was called it before, but it's even more Closet of Death now. So that is tier 3. Just below the surface for you. Now, we're gonna go on to this sexy picture next. I'm just kidding. That's not sexy. The milk, the cow's more sexy than that. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Okay, let's get started on tier 4. The middle of the iceberg. This is tier 4, the middle of the iceberg, of course, as it is. We have Mr. Sanders here in front of the milk. This is organic milk. This is the good stuff for you. Organic milk. Always want your milk to be organic. He's making a funny face. Look at him. Anyways, let's not focus on that photo. We'll get to that photo. Alright, number 1, janitor closets. I was in math class with Joey in Jackson. We were outside doing our math, studying for a test. We were doing some matching games. I quite remember the fun of the matching game, but somebody had sectioned off this, they had stopped this janitor closet door from closing. So it was unlocked. So we went. I threw Jackson's shoe in it, as you do. Kind of funny, devious look if you think about it. But he had to man up and go in the janitor closet. Now there was a creepy mirror, a creepy doll, and an overall creepy aesthetic with an old school light bulb there in the janitor's closet. Not a very cool place to be. I just wonder if this probably exists on the iceberg, because I wonder what they're hiding in the other janitor closets. What is in the random closets of the school that nobody uses? There's probably some fucked up shit in there. I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, number 2, Daniel the Menace. Daniel has always been a menace. Just recently, he did some other things, but just recently he sent an email to Jackson. That Jackson then forwarded to me, a couple other students, and some teachers. And the email that he forwarded was about all the things Daniel did, that he admitted to doing, actually. Some of them were locking teachers out of rooms, doing stuff with GoGuardian, deleting assignments. It was pretty fucked up shit. I would never do that. Don't blame me for any of that stuff that happened, but this one is just about how menacing this man is. There was some more specifics, but I forgot them, so do your own research on Daniel the Menace. Alright, number 2, there's 3. Sometimes you can't count, you know? but is roof access, as a lot of you know. This is pretty close to the surface, but there's ladders up to the roof in a lot of the rooms at Southern Hills. Well, not a lot, but there is a lot there. And a couple of appearances, janitors get on the roof, throw balls down from the roof that people have thrown, like wall ball balls, tennis balls that thrown onto the roof, and they just get them down because there's a lot of stuff on the roof. And it'd build up, and there'd be like a pile of balls on the roof after a while, so they had to do it. But Mr. Sanders once had an appearance. My boy Mr. Sanders, and Mr. Sanders here, went on the roof, threw a couple balls in. It was a good time, but if you really wanted, I'm not saying you should, it is possible for you to get on the roof at Southern Hills. Kind of like that other, I forgot, it was like, we won't talk about that one school you can get on the roof of, because I don't want you guys to hurt yourselves. Falling from roofs is not fun. Number 4, Mr. Sanders is a rapper. He is. Yep, on his YouTube channel, if you look, there's a rap song on there. That is actually what this photo is taken from. Oh, baby Yoda. So cute. We're getting sidetracked, but and he was doing some rap bars with it was Mr. Sanchez. That hopefully I didn't get his name wrong. I feel like a dumbass if I did. It's been a while, boys. My brain is off. It's break. But Mr. Sanders, he's been rapping. He rapped Students Versus. I mean, if you know him, he loves rap. His favorite rapper is Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I know a lot of people like Kendrick Lamar, but that's a questionable choice. I mean, this man doesn't even put Tupac in his top 10. Like, what kind of man doesn't put Tupac in his top 10? He's a rapper, though, if you don't know. Probably came out of the hood, if I'm being honest with you. All right, room 262. If you look on the floor plan, you can see room 262. What's in there? We'll never know. It's a pretty big closet. Pretty big room. We can't open it, even if we could only pick the lock if we really wanted. But who's going to do that? That's a felony, breaking and entering. We're not going to do that, but what is in there? Nobody knows. Except for maybe the janitor. We can ask the janitor. We should try. Petition to get into room 262. Alright, locker room paint. Somebody painted over something. Right above the lockers in the locker room of the boys' locker room, I must add. If you're a girl, don't go in there, please. You won't be able to see this, but somebody drew something on the ceiling and somebody painted over it. Now, we'll probably put the photo up on screen. See if you can guess what they painted over. If you can guess, I mean, it's kind of obvious, I'm not going to lie to you, but number 2, Gito is, why do I keep saying number 2? Number 2 is way back here. This is the last one. Conjito is OG. Now, this is not related to Mr. Conjito as a rapper. I mean, Mr. Sanders is a rapper. Everybody's rapping, apparently. But Mr. Conjito, no, he's not an original gangster. No. He's just an original teacher, I guess. He's OT. But he's the oldest surviving staff member. It's not that all the other staff members are dead. It's just that he's been here the longest. He's a pretty cool dude. You should get to know Mr. Conjito. I mean, if you know him, you know him. I don't gotta say much more, but like, he's been here the longest. He's the longest staff member. And he has some stories to tell you. And we'll talk more about Mr. Conjito later, as you can see, but remember Conjito. And be friends with him. We used to call him Conjesus. But nah, he doesn't like that, so we can't. Okay, now we're getting into tier. What tier are we? This is tier 5. Sorry if I get the tiers wrong. Counting is a little bit hard. My brain's a little fried today, but tier 5, we have a photo of Mr. Crandall. Those are some big old teeth he got. Wonder where he got those teeth. Those pearly whites. But Mr. Crandall, stunning as always. Okay, number 1 for Freemasons built Southern Hills Middle School. This is not speculation. I know a lot of you know the conspiracies about the Freemasons, New World Order, Illuminati, all those. Freemason control the world is the conspiracy, I guess, but there's a Masonic symbol on the front of Southern Hills. There's a plaque talking about the Colorado Masonic Lodge. The Freemasons had something to do. I don't know if they just benefacted the Southern Hills or if they actually built it, did masonry for it. But I mean, say what you want. I think the logical conclusion, because this is a conspiracy theory, well, isn't a conspiracy, we can make it a conspiracy, that if Freemasons control the world, and Southern Hills was built by Freemasons and is connected to the Freemasons, does that mean Southern Hills controls the world? I think that is very likely. And Mr. Sanders can explain it as Freemasons are very giving people. They love education. So they did donate and build a lot of elementary schools. Well, not elementary schools. A lot of schools in general, public schools, so that everybody could have education, which is pretty cool if you think about it, giving people education. And that's how he explained it, but I'm pretty sure that Southern Hills controls the world. Or could it be we're just a school? I'm not sure. Mr. Crandall is OG. Mr. Conjito is OG. Mr. Crandall is OG. Yeah, this is everybody's OG apparently, but this is relating to, I'm pretty sure they're hinting at the fact. We'll get into the 21st century cohort later, but Mr. Crandall had a video where he said the plow was very influential in history. And I'm pretty sure he talked about remembering the plow. And there's a picture of Mr. Crandall pushing one of those old-timey plows with an ox on it. I know it's still used in some part of the world today, but it was a black and white photograph. So all I'm saying is this guy has been teaching for a very long time. He looks very young, very stunning. No, this guy's probably a vampire. Probably has been teaching at least 100 years ago, maybe more. I forgot when the plow was invented. I mean, probably. He says he remembers the beginning of the plow. That means he's just as old as the plow. This guy is hundreds of years old. I know that's a conspiracy theory, but like, look at these teeth. Maybe vampires don't have fangs, they just have giant old teeth. More conspiracy, like this one, but doesn't really matter. Crandall Geese, Mr. Crandall is here a lot. If you don't know, Mr. Crandall is like a bitter old man. That's quite part of this is that he is he is very bitter, and he doesn't like a lot of things. He complains a lot of loud things. Mr. Crandall hates geese. There's a ton of geese during the peak of winter when the geese are flying down from Canada to get to warmer climate. Ton of geese at Veely Lake. They love the green grass at Veely Lake. Mr. Crandall hates them. They poop everywhere. He lives basically really close to Veely Lake, so he vehemently hates them. So that's one of his feuds. His next feud, unlikely fellow. If you ask him who his two least favorite teachers are, his first least favorite teacher, or second one, the one he doesn't hate the most, is Mr. Sanders. He teaches with Mr. Sanders. Of course, you're going to hate the person you teach with. But the person he hates the most is Mr. Novak. There's a big feud between them. I'm not exactly sure on the specifics, but somehow Mr. Crandall got on the wrong end of Novak, and Mr. Novak broke a couple of Mr. Crandall's ribs. Maybe just one rib. I forgot how many ribs. Broke his ribs. Hates him ever since. It's been a while now, maybe a couple years, 10, maybe at most. Not 10, but like close to teaching 15. Yeah, probably 10 years about. He's been having this feud for. This one is pretty sad to see, but Mr. Crandall is a bitter man, as we say. Now, Mr. Crandall is featured here, but I'm featured here twice. President. This is not the President of the United States, you silly little goober. This is the Southern Hills Iceberg. I didn't know that Southern Hills had a president. Well, now you do. I know this is pretty far down here. It's tier 5, but... President? I am the president. Okay, now Joey is the vice president. We have our counselor or something. Governing counselor. Governor counselor. He's the governor. Is Sven Vesmar, as you know. Joseph Wang is the vice president, but I am the president. I proclaimed myself president. We got it signed. It's official. We had this whole thing. We made the proclamation. Mr. White told us, well, there is no student body president, but you can just proclaim it to be a position and elect yourself. So I did just that. Now I have the title of president, and I can make more proclamations to that order. I haven't done anything since, but it's still a cool title. I mean, there's only one president of Southern Hills, and that's me. We might have a successor. That might be James. James might be our successor. Or it might just die. The presidency might die, everybody. This might be sad. Next is Little Nightmares. So, Little Nightmares, if you play a very good game, it's a horror game made by Tarsier Studios. Pretty sure. Tarsier. And, it is a horror game. So, during COVID, 7th grade, when I was in 7th grade, not during everybody's 7th grade, not everybody goes to 7th grade at the same time, we were doing online schooling. So before gym class, me and Joey, as you know, Joey's Vice, call him Vice, but we were just messing around. So I was in the Google Meet for PE, and I was streaming me playing the first Little Nightmares game, because the second one was not out at the time. So I was playing the first. We actually completed it all through gym class, which is pretty cool moment. I mean, I was almost caught too, but that was a lot of the class saw me playing it. Like, almost the whole class at one point. So, yeah, a lot of people know about this, but not a lot of people remember, I don't think. And that has a lot of speculation in it, but these two are legit. This one's legit. These two are legit. This is the only one about speculation, so this is the only one you're going to have to look out for, but he probably is hundreds of years old. Oldest man on Earth, most likely. I'm calling it here, folks. That's it. That's the theory. Oldest man on Earth, 100%. Okay, what is it? It is tier 6. We have Mr. White. I said all the pictures before were flattering. I cannot say the same for this one. I'm sorry, Mr. White, but then it's... something's wrong about that one, I'll be honest with you. Alright, we're going to start out pretty fast. We're going to bang through these. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of these are pretty long explanations, but... Mr. Conjito is a rapper. Mr. Conjito... talking to him, as you know, I'm friends with Mr. Conjito. We call him CC, well, 500 CCs on the throttle, because he is such an engine, dude. I mean, this man plays sports, even at his age. He's actually kind of old, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's not a diss. I mean, it's literally, like, pretty obvious if he's the longest known staff member. He's been here a while. He's obviously not a young, spry dude, alright? But, yeah, I was talking to him. He's a rap fanatic, kind of like Mr. Sanders. He was quoting, it was a Ski-Lo song. It was, I wish I could be a little bit like, I wish, by Ski-Lo, yeah. And he was saying, like, I wish I was a baller. He was also talking about he was going to slay him with his raps. He was going to make a rap song. He was going to slay him with his raps. That is how much of a rapper Mr. Conjito is. This is confirmed. He is a rapper. I mean, we don't have any videos of him rapping. But just understand, yes, he is a rapper. Sanders got connections. This is not about Mr. Sanders being a rapper. No, this is kind of related to his music video about rapping. But he is a very good teacher. He's a very funny teacher. If you look at his YouTube, he has a very weird video. It was titled like something about English LA, something about English. I forgot what it was. And it just kept going on and on. It had some crazy things. He'd pull up the next tab and it had like the KK on it. He'd pull up the next tab and it'd be like talking about something different. It was like a storyline. It was like had arcs to it. I mean, like character development. I'm swearing, like this man knows so many people, friends with everybody. This guy has connections. That's all you need to know. Next one's rather sad. Catherine Harvey Memorial. There's a memorial in front of the school dedicated to Catherine Harvey in 1996. I believe was the date. 1995, maybe. My memory is not serving me well, but Catherine Harvey, Mr. Conjito, even though he has been here the longest, nobody knows who she is. We'll get to this one, but like, nobody knows who she is. I asked Anders Coat. He could not tell me. I mean, I did my own research. There's nothing on Catherine Harvey. It's rather sad if nobody remembers the memorial. Why isn't a memorial if nobody remembers it? Rather sad one. But this next one, there's one about Where is it? It's the swim team closure. This one's kind of related. Well, could she be the person who caused the swim team closure? We don't know. I'm assuming she dies. The wording of the memorial does appear as though she is currently dead. Sadly. That's why I'm so sad. Quite obviously, that's most memorials. Wet footprints. It's not like she just left. That's all I'm getting to. Wet footprints. So you know the underground pool? The whole conspiracy theory about the underground pool, where it goes to conspiracy, is not the fact that it merely exists. It's the fact that somebody died down there. Died in the pool, which is related to this swim team closure. And that sometimes when the school is closed, you can see wet footprints. It's the reminder of the ghost who comes up from the pool while nobody's in there and makes wet footprints all across the school. This is very, very creepy entry. Because schools in places, it's kind of like liminal spaces, do get very creepy when there's nobody in them. They're designed to have people. And when you remove the people, it is not a fun time. There's no sounds, there's creepy sounds at times. And apparently wet footprints. I haven't seen them myself, but I do think if you believe in ghosts, you believe in the wet footprints. Now, they don't even have to be made about ghosts, is what we're also going to get at. Garage door. Oh, wait. Does it have... It's also related to the eyeless monster. Okay, we're going to go to the eyeless monster. So, it doesn't have to be a ghost. As you can tell, underground is rather dark. There's not a lot of light down there. And so, maybe somebody got trapped in the pool. Let's say they sealed it off. It's locked. Nobody's been down there for a long time. Even though a lot of teachers do say they've been out of the pool. It's dark down there. What if something got stuck down there and evolved because of the darkness? And no longer has eyes. And that is what's creating the wet footprints. It's literally a physical manifestation. Well, not a manifestation. A physical being that's walking around the school making the wet footprints. It's a monster. It's eyeless. It's scary. We'll get on to proof for that one. The garage door classroom. This one is not speculation. There is a classroom that has like a garage door built into it. Though, isn't really a garage door. It's just kind of like a pull-up door. Because no cars can... There's a railing right in front of it. You can drive into this classroom. But it is called Theater Arts on the floor plan. And does occasionally have class. I'm not in theater, so I can't tell you about what it's used for, what's in there. But it is rather odd. No, not a lot of people have been in there. And nobody really knows about it, but there's a classroom behind a big door. Tell me if you've gotten in there before, or tell me if you want to get in there. We can do, just like room 262, we can do a Storm the Garage Door classroom. Or Storm Theater Arts. Petition for them. Okay. We're getting near the bottom, guys. We're almost there. Alright, this is tier 7, or what's the opposite of tier? Tier 2, counting from the bottom. We have Barack Obama. We'll get to Barack Obama in a second. That one's slightly lower. But, okay. Sanders and Crandall, 21st cohort. So, okay. This is the one I will go to Google to help you explain. Alright, if you look up Zachary Crandall, go to images. See a lot of photos. I think Googling Zach Crandall will pop it up faster, most likely. It is Crandall 21. You go to visit. This is how I found it. I was one of the first to find this. I'm just saying, kind of hard to find unless you're really looking. You'll find this. Zach Crandall, 21st century cohort. This was taught teachers how to use tech and Chromebooks and stuff and apply it in their classroom learning environments. Mr. Crandall, Mr. Sanders, they're pretty G'd out in their fit. Can go to learning, how they learned. Hot Ones video. They actually included this in an assignment. Change your projectors. This one's pretty funny. Inspired by, obviously, Between Two Ferns. Applying. There's an elevator pitch. Very cool stuff. But all these videos are really funny, but all you really need to boil down to is this is the video where Mr. Crandall was talking about plows. Was the Hot Ones video, and this just talks about how they they really add technology to their classroom, which is a really cool thing to see. It's very nice. They're one of the most digital assignments. Here you can see them keeping they're just showing off basically here. I'm just saying that there's some pretty swanky stuff. It's a good song. I don't know why I clicked that, but displaying friend. Yeah, so this is just them learning about technology. That's all you need to take from that. All right, daily scar. You'd think this would be a lot higher up, but I'm apparently the only person to ask him about his scar. Mr. Daly has a scar. He's bald, as we went over. So you can easily see a scar on his head. It's not a birth defect. No, apparently, Mr. Daly was hit by a car. This is just a fun fact of knowledge. He'll tell you, ask him about the scar. He was hit by a car, and he got a scar on his head. I'm not sure if he was biking, just being a pedestrian. He could have been in his car. I don't think that's probably not likely. I don't know. You could ask him about the details. I forgot the details, but kind of cool fact knowledge that's pretty low. Title IX. This one should be a lot higher up, but a lot of people don't realize how connected it is to Southern Hills. Don Stenstrud was, I forgot the lineage of principals at Southern Hills. The lineage is very confusing, and there's a ton of different principals that have gone away in a very short amount of time. Mr. White is the current principal. Don Stenstrud was a couple principals back. He actually moved to Fairview, so he started teaching or principaling at Fairview after working in Southern Hills. And you know what happens after you work it? He got Title IX accusation, which Google Title IX, Google Don Stenstrud, Title IX, Fairview Title IX. It was, you can Google that for yourself, but basically all you need to take from this, he used to be at Southern Hills, and now he's no longer. He's on like paid leave or administrative leave. I'm not even sure if it's paid, but just fun fact, gym choir room. This one is, you do this in health class. You go up to the gym that's above the gym. Well, like the workout room in the choir room. These are just, you can get to the choir room from the auditorium. These are just rooms that not a lot of people go in very often. So they're just kind of shrouded in mystery. You can get in trouble for going up into them if you're not allowed to be, or if it's during lunch or something when you're not supposed to be up there. I mean, there's not a lot there, and it shouldn't be so far down probably, but like, who really has been down there? Southern Hills Middle School is prison. So the first person who made Fairview, built Fairview, designed it. The same person who designed Southern Hills. Now people, the whole thing about Fairview is they're like, oh, Fairview is built like a prison. It's so, there's super small windows, you can't see out of it. It's terrible school design. The person who made it did make some prisons in his time. He didn't only make prisons, but he did make some prisons. And his style of architecture is just kind of like that. So this is going the extra step and saying Southern Hills could be a prison too. Could it be that it's just his architectural style? Could it be that he just likes building small windows and glass was expensive at the time? Or could it be that he was really making a prison for students? You pick which one's more likely. But that's the same conspiracy theories for Fairview. The trifecta. This one's a cool one. This one's very related to my presidency. But this is different than the trio. You can go back to me explaining the trio if you really want to refresh yourself. But the trifecta is Miss Barczyk, Mr. Gangito, and Mr. White. Mr. Gangito is the only bald person on that list. They are not similar because they're bald. Instead, when I was getting my presidency, the proclamation did need people to sign it for it to be official. So we were looking for the three most important people that we put on there to sign it. That would help us, me get the presidency and them get the vice presidency and such as forth. So they were the trifecta to get signed, and we got them signed, and now I'm president. So, but they are some of the most powerful administratively in the school. And swim team closure. This one is another speculative conspiracy theory. But so you ask Mr. White, and you say, why is there no pool? What happened to the pool below the school? He'll tell you, a student died. So throughout BVSD, there used to be swim teams all over. Then due to negligence, maybe a student drowned. And that closed every school. So that's why every school has the same theory about a swim team or a pool under their school. That's why every school, because it's true. That's the theory. And this was a thing, and now this dried up pool, there's nothing down there besides maybe the eyeless monster. But that is what closed the swim team. And maybe this is Catherine Harvey. We're not trying to disrespect that because this is a real memorial. This is speculation, because you can only get this by stories, which might tell you about its legitimacy, but we'll go full conspiracy. This did happen. This actually was a thing. Wink, wink. But believe this one. That's why they won't let you down there. That is why, and that's why there's no swim teams, because they don't have the money or the manpower to make sure that students don't go drowning themselves. We'll get to Obama in this beautiful picture later, but we're on the last tier, guys. Pretty amazing, if I do say so myself. Okay, this here is the final tier. This is all the juicy ones. This is tier 8. You can count yourself. Fuck you. Alright, oh, tier, yes, this is the deep of the deep. This here is a picture of the Southern Hills Middle School sister school. Alright, so if you Google image search the classic logo, it's this logo but with like blue or green here. Blue or green, so you have green here and this is blue outline. Google image, you come up with this image, but this is yellow. And this is in some other state. This is not in Colorado. This is not an old Southern Hills logo. Could it be that maybe somebody used the same graphic? Or is there a sister school? Is there another school that's Southern Hills that is Masonic as well? That is Masonic and controls the world along with Southern Hills. And there's a sister school that has very similar teachers, staff. Maybe there's a duplicate universe. That is what this theory is about, the sister schools. And are there more? Are there just more not on Google? We don't know. Alright, Crandall NHD article. This refers to somebody was doing NHD. They were doing it on Lincoln Hill or something. It was about the KKK and black rights, and not black rights, but racial stuff in Colorado. And somebody had found this article with Zach Crandall's name on it, name written in the credits, you could say. So, Mr. Crandall wrote an article that helped somebody do an NHD, and there is a fringe theory, maybe this connects him to the KKK, but obviously it was more about black rights, so we can't say that and defame his character like that, saying that he's in the KKK. He is not. He's a very good man. I like Mr. Crandall. But he didn't make a very good NHD article. Alright, the upside down. This one, we asked Mr. White, what does this door lead to? He tells us that it leads to the upside down. You know from Stranger Things, the upside down leads to the upside down. So this door, I would not go inside it. This would be a very bad door to go through. Because you can look through the vents, you might see a boiler room. Because it is the boiler room. Is the official school plans. It says it's a boiler room. But there probably a portal opened up in there. Something wacky's going down there. It's very creepy. Nobody's been down there for probably years. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen anybody go through the door, and I've been watching. I tell you, I've been watching, and nobody's went through that door. And he also said, oh, maybe it goes to the archives, because he wasn't quite so sure, because nobody's been down there, so nobody can tell you. Archives of, maybe because Southern Hills controls the world, maybe these are the archives of the world, or they're just the Southern Hills. And this is probably another pop reference to a thing. But you know, most media is based on truth, and these were both based on the real Southern Hills. We'll get to this one last. So, Brotherhood, this is another Mr. White one. We asked Mr. White, what swim team closure? What's about the swim team closure? And he talked about, you heard about the Brotherhood, right? And I know he's a newly initiated member, because if you were a fully initiated member, the number one rule of Fight Club is to not talk about Fight Club. So Brotherhood you're not allowed to talk about it. He said you're not allowed, but he talked about it himself, so he's probably new. So I have a theory that the more bald you are, the further you are in the ranks of the Brotherhood, which puts the trio as literally the most important, powerful people in the world because they're all fully bald in Southern Hills. And he's only newly initiated because he's only slightly balded. So this is a very, very interesting theory. The Brotherhood's kind of cultist-like. They chill out down in the swim team. I believe nobody. I wouldn't be telling you about this if I was in the Brotherhood. You know, I have to watch my back now, by the way. Now I'm telling you all this, but so this one I can't really confirm anything on it, and this is really speculation off of one of the members' words. So I can't tell you much more, but that's all you really need to know. Ask him about it. Don't tell him I sent you though, because that'll just get me in trouble. DIA Obama. So if Southern Hills has a pool, a swim team underneath ground, there's probably tunnels. There's probably maintenance tunnels. These exist to run utilities through utility tunnels, hot pipes and stuff. And so that probably exists in Southern Hills. We're just going to confirm that. There's a pool. There are tunnels. These exist. What else has tunnels underneath and is secretly a government organization? DIA, Denver International Airport. Which, let me tell you, because they're so similar, and Mr. Barack here, when he was president, loved to fly out to Colorado for a very important government business. I'm telling you that DIA and Obama are connected to Southern Hills. Obama's been to Southern Hills. I can tell you that much. That's confirmed, actually, probably. It's not speculation. And this is very important to know. And that all the conspiracies with DIA are also true for Southern Hills. So they're interconnected. Is a connection that you need to know here. Now we have the final one. Defamation of character. This is a joke. This one is the one I can confirm is a joke. It's based off a joke. But you can speculate on your own time. Both of them are married, so I don't want to ruin anything. But when I was first in class, I'm sitting next to my boy Quentin. Quentin tells me, basically the first day of class. Actually, this was the first day of school. First day of school, 8th grade. We're sitting in their class. We're like, okay. We're cracking up jokes. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, a whole summer. And he says, bro, they kind of look like a gay couple, though. Because they were dressed very similar. And they always dress kind of similar without meaning to. There is a connection there. It's like, bro, there's no... And I laughed because I didn't see it at first, but then I saw it. And I'm like, dude, that's funny, but like probably not true. So you can... Don't ask them about this. So I'll just get people in trouble. We're not trying to ruin any marriages. Ruin any good vibes here. This is a joke. But maybe if you're a fringe theorist, you can say this isn't a joke. I don't know. However you want to take this. And that is a full Southern Hills Middle School Iceberg. Thank you all for watching. So, in summary, we have all the tiers. You can watch the video, get all the information you want. Share this with your people. Like the video, get it circulated around, send it to everybody you know from Southern Hills. Maybe send it to some people not from there. See what they think of that, and see if they think it's a good iceberg. Thank you guys again for watching. Subscribe. We might send out more videos if I get the willpower to record more. Might put out more videos that are similar, or maybe even gaming, something. We'll change it up. We'll keep it fresh. We'll keep it squeaky clean. And hopefully you guys thought it was a good iceberg. Hopefully you guys liked it. And I mean, you did watch it all, so it is a telltale. And that is about it. Thank you. Alright guys, I mean, that was a pretty lit video. Thank you guys all for watching. I mean, can't say how much I think. Like, I mean, if I forgot any weird things about Southern Hills, please send them in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what I've been doing. And remember, like and subscribe. Remember, bigger number, better person. You gotta remember that. Alright boys, signing off. See ya.